And good Tuesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Good morning and welcome. Right now 63 with fog all throughout the area. If you've got to go anywhere, make sure to plan ahead. Pretty heavy here in Lauderdale County, north of us and due west of us. In fact, it's bad. Let's go ahead and pull this up so you can see this before you start your adventures and leaving home. You might want to head out a little bit earlier than normal. As we look at this, we go into Meridian Honda radar. Let's look at this across Lauderdale County. It is thick and very thick as we see this. Let's turn on some location so you can see exactly where things are happening this morning. Wrong button, wasn't it? All right, this is what we know so far. On the east side of Lauderdale County, it's going to be thicker. Now, we've got heavy fog as you pass Clarkdale School and you get up past Greg's and you get to the Evangel Temple, a little bit thicker. Even out here right next to Plant Sweat, we've got a lot. From Meridian, about where the split happens is where it's going to start getting thicker. You've got fog beginning here at the Newton County line, but it gets thicker right past the split coming into Meridian. So be careful. As you cross through Meridian, this eastern side is going to be a little bit thicker this morning. Let's zoom in on this. Along here, after you pass Sam's, it'd be one of those where you can't see your hand in front of your face out by the Ag Center. This is going to go all the way out to roughly there to Tom Bailey Lake right now. And this will take in all of this area here at Rainbow Lakes. If you have got to go out to Russell Christian Academy, be careful all the way through Marriott. Now this dark or what I'd call, is that like a gold color? It's thick there, but these reds are the worst. Even out here to 493 past the fire department there on 19, fog. And we've got this all the way up to the Sam Dale Monument. And look at this. Right as you go past Lauderdale, just due north of right here, above the lake, it's going to get worse right here. Cuba Road, these areas here in Lauderdale County. Now, this gold area stretches all the way over to Cuba, Alabama, Livingston, and clean up past 2 Mile Bottom into Kemper County. Y'all be careful here. These stretches here where you can't see to cross these roads. And this will even be fogged going past Baca Valley and all the way past 16, right out past Giles there. It's going to be east of Scuba and the worst of that over to 17. That's that 2-lane road. Y'all be careful. So we've got a lot to be concerned about on the local level when it comes to fog this morning. It is thick. It's election day. It should start burning off or be over by 9 o'clock. But keep this in mind with whatever you're doing early. If you've got to go to work, leave early now, especially if you live eastern Lauderdale County and eastern Kemper County and western areas of Alabama there. York, Cuba, Livingston, those areas there. Pelahatchie, if you're going to Jackson, it's going to get worse. Yazoo City, look at all of this fog we've got there down to Natchez, West Point, Stark Vegas has got it. Even back into Texarkana this morning, we're showing all this. Now, unlike yesterday morning, we don't have a fog advisory for our area, but without a doubt, it is so much thicker than it was yesterday morning, it's not even a comparison. We tell you all this in hopes that you'll drive careful this morning, no matter what you do. We've got roughly 26 minutes before polls open across America, or at least through the deep south here where we're on Central Standard Time. It'll be changing different time zones. There's some places already voting, but we'll be open 7 to 7 p.m. We'll talk more about that here in a moment. Right now, let's start off with a good word. How about that? Let's head out to Collinsville to the First Baptist Church. Brother Paul wants to talk to us about, well, a wish list. I think we've all had one before, hadn't we?
When I was a kid, we used to always get the Sears Christmas wish book. Man, it would be filled with so much stuff. My brother and I would go through and mark what we wanted and give our parents our wish list. We knew that Mom and Dad wouldn't give us everything we wanted, but they would always give us good things. In Matthew 7 through 11, we see that God's focus on giving is not on giving us everything on our wish list. God's focus is on giving us the good things He has for His children. Jesus said in Matthew 7:11, "If you then who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask Him?" God knows how to be good to His children. To be anything less would be contrary to His character. When we learn more about His character, we learn more about what to ask from Him. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And if you don't have a church of your own, they'd certainly love to have you there. Services on Wednesday, Sunday. Pick a church somewhere. really makes a difference in your life. Thank y'all for joining me this morning. Again, 63 and foggy wherever you are. We've got a hurricane that is headed toward Florida. That's most likely going to be a Cat 1 when she comes ashore. Nicole's angry. She's coming. It's late in the season, and this will turn and go through portions of Florida on into Georgia, Douglas. Y'all be ready there and up through the Carolinas. We'll look at this here in a little bit when we get into the forecast. How are you? We hope good. Again, we'll talk more about the elections today. Make sure you vote. Doesn't matter to me which way you vote, just so long as you get there, one way or another. As we look across the Meridian area, I did post a few moments ago that we did have some shots in the Meridian area last night. Now, to my knowledge, no damage, no injury. Someone hurt it, so that makes it happen, didn't it? Let's look at this. This will be 52nd Street, right around here. Right here is North Hill Street, just due north of there, 52nd Street, what we call the back street there. If you cut through Poplar Springs, right along in there is where those shots were heard. Now, no damage, no injury. Still happened regardless of what we may think. We had a bunch of fender benders that clogged traffic throughout the area in Meridian yesterday. I got a report just about drive time. Several cars involved. I don't think anybody was seriously hurt, but we did have several cars of a fender bender. As we pull this up, this would be at 39th Avenue before you reach King Road is where this would be. Several cars involved. 2-lane right through that area, very congested, and held traffic up for quite a while there on North Hill Street yesterday afternoon if you were trying to get through there to get home. As we come across, we did have some shots reported, and nothing was found. Police did respond to this yesterday afternoon. Poplar Springs Drive, broad daylight in the afternoon. Again, they found nothing. No one was hurt. Still, somebody reported. Several people said, I heard it. That was on Poplar Springs Drive and 34th Street area there. If you'll look at that there on that map, let's just pull that up where you can see that just a little bit better. Meridian High School here. This is right up here is where that happened, about 34th Street. Again, no one hurt, no one injured. Still happened out there as we look at things that went on in the area yesterday. Also had a wreck yesterday afternoon, 23rd Avenue. Another one of those fender benders. Had a lot of calls on this as well. This does happen from time to time. Let me blow the picture up a little bit bigger there, and you can see through the windshield of what it looked like as somebody come up on that. 2 trucks involved right there. Most likely, color change and lights. Somebody didn't catch it, and next thing you know, it's a fender bender. It doesn't happen. No one seriously hurt on that either, and that's good. I had several questions about this yesterday afternoon, what was going on in Enterprise. And a domestic disturbance turned into something so much worse. As we checked in with Clark County Hot Topics to find out what was going on. It was in the 200 block of Front Street in downtown Enterprise. A mobile home completely burned to the ground. As we take a look at the headlines of this, it's just bad. An arson team has been called into this. An arrest has been made. No names have been released at this point. We'll keep you up to date on this, but someone lost their home. Again, it all started over a domestic disturbance. They're never good arguments, never turn out to be anything good, do they? I had several reports of what's going on in Crawford, Mississippi yesterday afternoon. If you've ever been to Mississippi State, it's up just past the bakery as you're headed toward Mississippi State. A good friend of mine lives or actually has land up that way, and it was word that a jet from Columbus Air Force Base had crashed, and sure enough it had. And as I called my friend to check, he ran to his field, and this is what he saw. And let me point this out, what you can see here. This is across his pond, and there's very little left of the jet. Do y'all see that? That debris right there? That is what's left of that multi-million-dollar jet as it went down into his field there, crashed, tore all to pieces. Now, the good news to the story is the pilot was able to eject. He was not hurt. He was taken to a local hospital in the Columbus area to make sure that he was okay. That's the good news with that. The bad news is millions of dollars strode across there that will never be brought back. I think they do like 250-something flights a day in training from Columbus Air Force Base. We don't know what caused it, what went wrong, but he lived through it. They'll joke at him for the rest of his life for crashing a plane. That's just all a part of what happens in life. But thank goodness he's okay. Let's see here. I'm going to move that story to a little bit later. There are a few other things that have gone off. Some things just, you look at it, As we look at this, let's see what else is happening this morning. How embarrassing is it that life's been pretty good to you? Let's just paint a picture here. Your daddy owns a big company. Isn't it great? Life's been fairly good to you, and well, he appoints you the new CFO of the company. That's pretty high up the totem pole, isn't it? And you're going to know this company. Let's go to Arkansas for our headline this morning. Tyson Foods. Y'all ever heard of that? The owner of the company appointed his son CFO. He was arrested yesterday. You think, well, what could a CFO really get into? Something financial? No. It was nothing like that. He accidentally went into the wrong home, drinking, got in the wrong bed, and went to bed. Seriously. Cops showed up. Lady found him in her bed, didn't know who he was, had no idea. Cops come, they tried to get him up, and he went back to sleep. He was heavily intoxicated, and no word yet if he really thought that was his home, how he got there, did he drive? But that can't look good at the next board meeting, could it? I think he was appointed CFO in October. Yeah, that's not going over so well, is it? That never looks good on a CFO resume. Wrong house, maybe you shouldn't drink. I'm just thinking out loud. Now, he's not accused of trying to hurt her or anything like that. He just had quite a few. Sherry tells us it's very foggy in Tumsu this morning. Y'all be careful there. He'll be called Ace from now on. He sure will, that pilot. Yesterday afternoon, late, stocks started to rise just a little bit in hopes of something good, an outcome today. We'll see how that works out. Vicksburg, Mississippi. Let's go over. Our friends at Dark Horse reported this happened over in Vicksburg. I think we've all been involved in some form of a deer bumping your car or whatever the case is, and maybe it's done major damage. We've often heard of deer getting upset over it, hadn't you? This even happened to me. You think a deer has passed away and they're not. A family hit a deer. They pulled over to the side of the road. They got out to look, and the deer jumped back up. Tried to attack the 9-year-old. She's okay, but the deer was not happy, tried to get in the car. She's going to be all right. Not often that happens, but I have seen it. I had one try to jump out of the bed of a truck one time. It does happen. So in your travels, be careful when you hit a deer. Make sure it's gone to the by and by, especially if it's a buck. You can get hooked if you're not careful. Let's see what else is happening across Mississippi today. As we go back over the weekend, Jackson, Mississippi, they found a home that was burned. Firefighters were called to the scene. They did find the body of someone in a living room. They have not released any information as to who it is until next of kin has been notified. So we pass along condolences to the unknown family at this point. It can't be good. You know wherever they are now that they're upset and hurt by what has happened. Just awful, awful. Also, as we learned, I go back to our friends over at Dark Horse who reported this. It happened in Jackson over the weekend, and there was a video, and I will not show that, of a man driving down the road, and he goes, "What's that dog got?" He said, "My, that sure looks like an arm." He videoed it and called authorities, and they responded to the area, and sure enough, it was the arm of someone. Deputies would look Saturday afternoon. They didn't find anything. They returned Sunday for a bigger search. They found more body parts. They have no idea who it is. They've had similar cases like this in Jackson before, but it's a dismembered body now has been found in the Jackson, Mississippi area. And that leads you to believe there's a killer on the loose, doesn't it? Well, we know it is. We'll watch this story closely as details start to come in on this. We don't know how long the body had been there. Really, nothing has been said as to how long or what. But that is a serious crime. We'll let you know what we find out about that as the story develops and more is released of the information on this. Jones County got into a chase, as we know, south of here toward Laurel, Hattiesburg area there. Deputies were following Justin Gatlin. He was 30 years old. Read him on a good chase there. He jumped out the car and ran. Only problem was when he ran, he dropped his cell phone and his wallet. Left all of his information behind. Kind of matched up there. They are currently seeking him. They will most likely get him. You can run, but you can't hide when you do that. If you're going to do something wrong, it's best not to carry your wallet. But y'all already knew that, didn't you? He didn't. And some of these What people do, you don't know what's in their mind, what swayed them to do it, but breaking into a bank is probably not a good idea. Even if you think, well, the bank is closed, so it's not as serious now, let me go on in. Columbus man was arrested. He knocked out the window and climbed through the window. The police arrived with the canine, and they cornered him inside the building. He's been promptly arrested. He'll face trial. Can't be good. It can't be good. No word yet if he had a gun on him. I guess that would make it even worse. They got a man that's going to be resentenced in a 1999 murder case in Madison County. He was sentenced to life in prison. And the law, the way it is worded, and as we spoke to Cassie not long ago, the way the wording of the law is on some of the murders in the 90s, wording is going to get a resentencing for this guy. He could only get 20 years. He had been sentenced to life in prison. We'll follow this case. It's a depraved heart murder. Now is considered a second-degree murder, and that gets about 20 years. Now, the jury could leave it as life in prison, most likely not expected. Someone was found in a ditch. He was later identified with this. We'll follow this case also as we get more details on it. It's kind of up in the air of all that we know about it. But resentencing, he could get out early. Life in prison. Doesn't always mean that you'll get that, does it? Some things do make you chuckle. As we started out the broadcast. I go to Nashville now. Of what goes through somebody's mind. And I think we've all watched the Medea movies, haven't we? She's funny. You ever seen the one where she pulls into, what was it, Kmart? Somebody had her parking place. She didn't like it, and she takes that Cadillac and gets them. Well, it's sort of like that in Nashville. As a lady came out, a guy walked back to his car to get in it, and he's confronted by a lady. She starts yelling at him that he got her parking place. He calls the police. A security guard comes up in between time. She walks back into her house, comes back with a pistol, and starts counting down to 10, 9, 8. He put it in drive and haul britches. She was still holding the gun when the cops arrived. She's been arrested. Well, she felt it was her parking place. He shouldn't have parked there. Sure. She's got a charge against her now. I'm telling you, Nashville has some very, very funny stories of what goes on. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Let's see, Lynn Finch, our district, our nice attorney general there in Jackson, has gotten $175,000 for a data breach. I said that wrong, didn't I? Breach. This involves T-Mobile, of people's Social Security numbers. They'll have to watch those for 5 years as somebody broke into it and they didn't have enough systems put up. The state's got $175,000, and they'll have to watch for free these folks' credit for the next 5 years as that got out. And that should happen. We did have a fatal crash as we looked at this in Lamar County, Mississippi. A gentleman by the name of Troy Brand of Purvis, Mississippi, lost his life in a single vehicle. Ran off the road and hit 2 parked cars in an apartment complex. He was pronounced dead at the scene. We hate that. We go to Batesville next for a headline this morning across the state of Mississippi. You have a woman arrested for a felony false pretense and commercial burglary. She did smile in her mugshot. I'll leave it at that, and we'll see if anything becomes of that as well. Let's see here. Casino down on Mississippi Gulf Coast, Alabama, was looking for somebody that was involved in a fatal wreck. It was a hit and run. He had a wreck, stole somebody else's car after that, and the person that he hit died in the wreck. He fled to Mississippi. They would find the truck that he stole the second time at a casino in Mississippi. Wyatt Newborn has been arrested, 26, fleeing the scene with the death of somebody. Closed in on him there in Mississippi. Several guns. He's got all kinds of charges up against him. Late night wreck has claimed the life of Matthew Marks, 33. This happened in the Jackson, Mississippi area there. That's just awful there. Actually, a little bit south of there, it was in around Natchez, Adams County there. 33. Wrecks happen, claims lives. Y'all think of people. It's just tough on families after things like this happen. As we looked at today, as we said, polls are opening up in 10 minutes from now. I hope you'll cast your vote. It's a little foggy now if you want to hold off to that burns off to get to the polls. But make sure that you vote. Doesn't matter who it is, if it's Democrat, Republican, or if you're going down the middle there for an independent. Just cast your vote. A lot depends upon this. The direction of the country, depending upon your beliefs. Vote your beliefs. Know who you're voting for. Maybe they'll represent you. The GOP has campaigned on crime and the cost of living skyrocketing. And I don't care who you are, if you're Republican or Democrat, you notice what's in your wallet, don't you? We all do. It's whether or not you can pay your bills. And then as you flip to the Democrat side, they've based mostly everything on culture wars. Y'all know where I'm going with that. But vote your heart. Vote what you feel is right. Whatever that case may be, go out and do that today. The economy's getting bad to where those who do work are having to get second jobs. Kind of scary, isn't it? We'll watch that stock market. As I said, it did get a little bit of a raise there late yesterday afternoon. Tomorrow will be totally different after we start seeing what happens with the election tonight. The midterms, it all boils down to this. 2 years of yelling and screaming on television, day in, day out. And I expect we're going to hear an announcement coming pretty soon from somebody, don't y'all? We got your forecast next. Don't rush off. We'll tell you all about that and so much more here at the Scotty Ray Report.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our community efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. Let's go to Meridian Honda radar and check out Nicole this morning as she sits here. She has 46-mile-an-hour winds moving northwest at 8 miles an hour. And if you'll notice, as she tracks toward the eastern coast of Florida, Fort Pierce is roughly the destination, and she will slam in at a Category 1 at 75 miles an hour with gusts of 92 miles an hour right around midnight on Thursday. Be prepared for this. It will come across, go to Ocala, go up to Gainesville, and then right into Georgia and up through the Carolinas. This is a late storm as it makes its way in there. Keep Florida in your mind as we move back over here. Look at all the fog we got in Baton Rouge, and still getting worse here in the Meridian area, especially in the Delta, Kosciuszko. We've got it up here in the northern portion of Winston County as you'll look at all of that. Now, the fog as we go back here into Lauderdale County has gotten a little bit better over the last little bit. Still thick in this gold area throughout here, going into northern Stonewall area, northward into Cuba, York, Livingston, all the way up to Epps, and portions of Kemper County. We'll call that lower Kemper County, 2 Mile Bottom, all the way back to the county line as we look at all of these different locations here. Be careful. Stop about right there at the Chicken Shack. We've also got a lot there at Blackwater Baptist, 2-lane road there, 39. Y'all be careful. The worst of the worst goes out Highway 19 out to Owls, out where the Rock House and back porch is, down to MCC, over to Long Creek, out to the Girl Scouts. We even got some out here in Causeyville, right at Wyandotte, and due north, all the way up toward Dalewood and cutting across Tom Bailey Lake to the Ralph Morgan Rodeo, being the worst of the worst of what we've got with fog this morning right now throughout the county. Drive careful, leave early, and if you can wait a little while, do that. You don't have to be there when the polls open at 7. You can be there later. Plenty of time to do that. Let's check your forecast and find out what all the National Weather Service is offering today.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Our record highs and record lows, it was 05, a warm day of 87. We'll get close to that today as we're looking between 84 to 85 for a high. Back in 51, a cold day it was. A record low set at 22 degrees on this date back in 1951. As we glance across it, Meridian 84, we'll see the same in Philadelphia. A few clouds, but sunshine finally breaking through. The same goes for Columbus Air Force Base down to Brookhaven, a tad warmer in Hattiesburg and over in Natchez. Not bad. As we cut over and we take a look here into Bama land, we've got 84 at Tuscaloosa, Roll Tide. As we go up through Livingston, 83. Same as that Epps, Alabama. Not bad weather at all. We'll see sunny weather there. And again, here's that threat through about 9 o'clock of the fog throughout the area in Mississippi and that western edge right here into Alabama. So y'all keep that in mind as we do all of this morning. As we keep looking at what we've got for the weather to offer, it looks like we'll be getting cooler weather before long. It does. That's good to know. We hope to have it sooner than later. Let's see here what else we got this morning. Here's what our temperatures are going to be doing. Look at the change that is coming. Do y'all see this? 83 today to 84, 57 tonight, and then we start seeing a little bit of a change tomorrow. Wednesday about 70. By Friday is our high of 75 for the week, and down we go come Saturday morning. Somebody find a jacket and an electric blanket. We're not used to this. 57 for a high on Saturday, down to nearly freezing on Saturday night, and it goes below freezing on Sunday night to 30. Check those pipes. Make sure you got everything ready as we start seeing colder temperatures. This is going to be drastic as this cold weather moves in for us. We've been walking around in shorts and everything for months. Cold weather is coming. As we see here, 61 on Tuesday and then back into the 50s. Look at a high of 53 on the 17th. Then we'll level out and get some 60-degree weather just in time for Thanksgiving in that area right there. Boy, some cooler weather, isn't it? Looking forward to it. As we looked at this, as we go back to the tropics, the overall view is a tropical storm Nicole, and she will come in as a Cat 1 here, still at 46 miles an hour, moving northwest at 8 this morning, and a 30% chance of this becoming something. Not a lot of activity involved with it. Now, what's our fishing forecast for today? It looks like at 11 o'clock today till about 1 will be great to go fishing. Chet's Paint and Body bringing that to us today. Great weather there. Light northeast wind becoming east-northeast at 5 to 10. Not very high there. Down on the scale of best fishing days there. But that's a quick look at everything that we have this morning as we look at all this. I got a note, and I want to make sure this wasn't something important. Let me put some glasses on here. Yeah, the 15th. Big Don, today by the 15th, Don is saying he's going to have a major announcement coming up. Y'all remember that song, Big Bad Don? Do y'all remember the remake of that? Okay, it was funny. Anyway, so we expect an announcement from Donald Trump coming very soon. We'll see what becomes of that. I wonder what he'd want to talk about. Join us in 1 hour and 2 minutes from now. We'll be live on television for you. We'll also be back, Facebook, YouTube. If you hadn't joined us on YouTube yet, subscribe, like, so you get all the notifications. It's a great way to keep up with us as well. We even do a little Instagramming, learning as we go, expanding. Yeehaw. Thank y'all so much for being a part of what we do. We can't do it without you. You give us information, and we contact authorities to make sure everything's right on time, to give you the latest information, what happens in our area and across the state and nation. Thank y'all. We'll see you in 1 hour. Scotty Ray and Candace look forward to it. We'll see you soon.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: